Okay, so Arnab Goswami has been spoken a lot about these days, at least in my circle, because it was unexpected. We have seen him, well, you could say, taking the side of the government for the last 10 years, and then immediately he flips and talks about Aravali ranges and he talks about AQI and directly calls BJP and the ministers. So it was refreshing. It was refreshing. And to be honest, this video is not just about him. I've picked him up because obviously it's a surprise, and I'll tell you why it's kind of personal to me as well, for me as well. But the thing is, I was wondering that what enables someone like Arnab Goswami to actually be this way. I got curious because I am a journalism student, so I know a bit about how journalism works and how the TV news works as well. Because my first job, I think I remember, the owner of that company was working for a news channel, and because of that as well, I got to know a lot about how TV channels work. And over the years, I have spoken with a lot of journalists, and I've gotten a vibe. I would say I've gotten a vibe about how it is to work in a TV channel. Now, you would ask me, why is it important for me to know how a TV channel works? I think it is important because it will then help us understand why these anchors take the position they do, and should we even expect or hope something out of them. So coming to Arnab Goswami, so I will not hesitate to admit that I was a big fan of him, because since 8th standard I wanted to be a journalist, and I looked at him at that time. He was in Times Now, and he was heading one of the biggest primetime show. I don't know, I don't think I watched news that much because I was in 8th standard. My only concern was, will I be able to play football the next day? But still, I remember reading about him, remember him on TV, and really got inspired by him because the way he spoke, the way he questioned the authority. I don't know if he did, but at least that was the perception from my end when I watched him. But still, now what happened is, then I went to MIT, and that's not the actual original Massachusetts MIT, it's the one in Pune. And I was doing my diploma. There's an annual event that the college did. I think it was called Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, and he came there, and I was so excited to hear him because I was going to see him for the first time outside of the TV and live. And he came up, he talked about a bunch of corruption scandals done by the Congress. He said, we need a good channel, we need a good TV channel. And it was amazing because he said all the right things, and then he said, shout with me Republic, because the new name of my channel is going to be Republic. And I shouted Republic because I was completely fanboying. I wanted his autograph, I wanted to ask him questions, I wanted to go and say, hire me right now, I'll work for you. But anyways, then he started to do Republic TV, and it was really bad. It went south very early. There are a bunch of things that he did. It's not just bad reporting. He also was named in the TRP scam, in the Balakot airstrike 2019 misinformation scan, where he shared a bunch of privileged information before even it was in the public. He shared it with his colleague, and he was responsible for a lot of infighting between journalists. Let's come to how TV news works. TV news is primarily guided by TRP because everyone is chasing TRP. We feel as though it is a news business, but like anything else in this world now, it's an attention business. They get advertisement based on the attention that they have of the viewer. Now, how is that attention counted? It's by TRP. Now, TRP is television rating point. Everyone knows that. I was interested in how that TRP was counted, and there's a company named Bark that distributes bunch of devices to 45,000 households to look at what 20 crore households with a TV are potentially watching. So 45,000 for the entirety of India to count who is watching what. TRP for news is really low. Entertainment channels have high TRP, reality TV shows will get a lot of TRP, but news channels will rarely get a lot of TRP throughout the day, but they will have this 9 p.m. prime slot where the husbands are home and the wives are home and the children are home, and then they get to put on a celebrity anchor show and then they will watch it. But again, there are like 100 TV channels and everyone knows that 9 p.m. is the prime slot. So there will be competition to get that attention. There will be competition to talk about what people want to listen to or hear to. And in the last few years, whether you accept it or not, the prime topic that gets attention has been religion. So we have to assume that the TRP that Republic TV received and Arnab Goswami received indicated that people want to listen to more of his nonsense, and that's why he went and doubled down on it. Again, there is a lot of criticism to this process of counting TRP, and what I talked about is just 45,000 households to look at what the entire nation is watching. Okay, now let's come to the business model of it. What is the business model? Basically, the business model is you get attention and then you add these different slots and you ask companies to advertise on those slots and then you ask money for it. That's the main thing. Now, who are these advertisers? Yeah, like I said, companies can be one, but most of the advertisers in India are governments as well. So local governments and national governments will actually give a lot of money to news channels to run their ads. So you see the problem here, because if a TV channel criticizes the government pulls the ad, they lose a huge chunk of ad revenue. And not to say that in India, any business that is worth advertising on TV, because even if the audience size is quite low compared to other channels and other OTT platforms as well, it's still very high cost to advertise on TV. So if any company is doing that, they are worthy and they have maybe somehow worked with the government, or they don't want to rattle the government because the government can ruin their lives. So if you talk continuously against the government, if you criticize the government is not happy with you, you will not get ads. TV news channels can also earn from big conclaves, but that's again a very small portion of their revenue. Conclaves meaning they invite politicians and they invite bunch of celebrities to talk about different topics and discuss different things. People get to watch them, they can get views out of it, and yeah, they can get sponsors out of it, whatever. That's a small pie. Then they have these digital assets, but no one really watches a TV news channel digital version, and they also are far behind in creating that kind of a content that people will watch. I mean, people like me or you perhaps, we kind of prefer like these individual content creators that have come up on YouTube, right? Or explainers. The Indian news mainstream TV channels on digital platforms, I don't think, unless you are like a very huge fan of it, maybe Indian Express or maybe the Hindu or Times of India, I don't know if you're watching them on digital platforms. And therefore a lot of mainstream TV news companies have also created other channels that don't sound like them and sound new, but anyways, they don't get a lot out of it because it's very difficult to earn money from YouTube. In 2021, the TV ad revenue was a combined total of 35,000 rupee industry, that is $4.3 billion industry, and out of that, TV news is very small. If you compare it to other industries, $4.3 billion is in itself a very low number. Even if for me, it's a huge thing. I mean, I can't even imagine 1 crore rupees in my bank account right now, but still, compared to other industries, it's very low. And in that small pie, there's a smaller version of it that then goes to the TV news channels. Ambani owns a lot of TV channels, Adani owns a lot of TV channels, Z and Sony, all of these channels are actually owned by big companies, like big worldwide content companies who don't really care about news anyways. They will probably like be very happy that they own a news channel, but they don't really care how much that channel makes. But then comes Republic TV, where Arnab Goswami is the biggest owner, and then he now thinks, okay, how am I supposed to make money out of this? I think I need to inflate TRP. I think I need to bash Pakistan every single night so that people who care a lot about that issue will applaud me and they will look at my channel, and then I can say to the advertisers that I have the highest TRP, I am the number one watched English TV news channel, give me money. Plus, because he sided so much with the government will give him a lot of ads. Now, I want to dive deep into how it works technically, if you ask, because again, I think it is very important for us to imagine how the process is, so you understand how difficult it is to actually run a TV news channel and then also earn profit from it. TV news is a bit complicated than just someone coming on TV, because we think that because in this internet and digital age, I feel someone coming on a big screen is a very simple process, because we can do that now. So first of all, like I said, after registering, you need to have an uplink hub. Now, what is an uplink hub? It is a facility where your signals, whatever you have shot, either it is on ground or your anchor comes in and you shoot him talking for 30 minutes. That signal, along with the graphics that you see everywhere, that will be packaged into a signal that will be shot up to a satellite from a uplink hub. Then that signal will be thrown to DTH and Dish TV and cable services, and then it will appear on your television. So it's not like internet. It's not instant upload to a server. It's sending broadcast signals directly to a satellite, and then that comes to your TV. Now, you have to have so many permissions for that. You have to have a license, heavily regulated. You need to also pay money to get satellite links to the respective authorities. Then you need to have a studio, you need to have reporters, you need to have designers, you need to have the content writers, and you need to have a team that makes sure that your live program goes well. So you're paying reporters, you're paying this uplink hub. You can either rent it, you can either own it, electricity bills, accommodation for your reporters, and travel fees, and their salaries, of course. And your anchor will take a lot of money himself, because he's the one who is going to give you the most attention at 9 p.m. and from his name you're going to get a lot of advertisers. If you look at the revenue that is required to run one episode, 1 hour of primetime news, it's around, it depends on the channel, but it's around 10 lakh to 40 lakh rupees per hour to run that show. So you need to then have advertisers worth 40 lakh rupees for that 1 hour. The model itself does not give incentive to do good journalism. The model is focused on attention. The model is focused on TRP, which is a heavily criticized system. Okay, so I have a step-by-step thing as to how news is provided to you. One thing, okay, so the program is put together, the live feed with the graphics and the tickers that are come at the bottom, and the ads as well that will be added in the mix, and the audio, everything is encoded, compressed into a format which can be easily transmitted. Then there's encryption, because obviously you need to have encryption because you don't want others to just randomly watch your shows. You need someone who has paid your channel or paid the broadcast facility or the dish facility or the DTH cable facility. You want someone who has paid their dish TV for your channel. You need to uplink it to a satellite. You need a bunch of things: DTH platforms, cable operators, regional MSOs, sometimes OTT ingest points. I don't even understand all of these things, but the graphic should appear 1, 2, 3. Yeah, now you're looking at a graphic that should explain a few things. Let's come back to Arnab Goswami. I think he realized that a lot of people now are looking at AQI and they're dissatisfied with the government maybe, and his potential audience wants him to raise a voice because he's not getting enough attention. So he's doing that, which is good. I think, yeah, it's something that I've been looking forward to if he does it, because he has that charismatic personality. He can actually ask tough questions, but it's not enough, because I feel the job of a journalist like him or an anchor like him is not to take positions. I won't say that if a journalist is bashing the government, he's a nice journalist. If someone is praising the government, he's not a nice journalist. I would rather say the fundamental duty of a journalist is to present facts and perspectives so that the audience can make up their own mind, and that's it. You would say, why wouldn't then we shift to YouTube, and what's the importance of TV news at all? Like, why don't close the TV news channels? Because firstly, there are a lot of states, the Hindi heartland that everyone calls. I believe there are more people, of course, in India that still rely on TV news for their news. TV news is heavily regulated, as I said. If an anchor gives you misinformation, misguided information, you can actually launch a complaint and their license can be revoked. So there is an incentive to not lie on TV, even if a lot of anchors still do it. But on social media, on YouTube, you won't get that. You will not. The only thing that you can actually do if someone is spreading misinformation is just not watch that video and hope that no one watches it either and that YouTuber quits. But that doesn't happen, right? Because everyone still gets some kind of an audience to keep on going. So that's why TV news is important, because you still have some kind of regulation to it. Having said that, and the deeply flawed business model that is there, I can't give sympathies to Arnab Goswami or say, oh no, I mean, the business model kind of forces you to do it. No, I think it's his choice. I think there can still be a balance. NDTV was doing quite well in that state before Adani really bought them. Maybe that's a different story. But still, there has to be a balance. There can be a balance. And whatever he did, the scams, the shouting, that's on him. I mean, that's on him. I wouldn't say that we should immediately support him. We should just still look at the facts. Like, how is he presenting information? So that's my verdict. I think, yeah. Also, one thing I forgot, if you want to start a TV news channel in India, you need to show that your company is worth 20 crore rupees. So there's the barrier of entry is also very high. And that means that companies who have tons of money, only they can actually open TV news channels. That's also a bit, I think, restricts good channels to enter. And then you're stuck with these 5-6 mainstream channels, mainstream companies. I think that's it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you understood some part of how TV news is done. And if you like this episode, I'm trying a bit of a new thing. You know, I tried to record it in a way explainers do, like the people who explain on YouTube, like these amazing graphics, amazing animations. They come in and they're so clear about what they talk about, but then it's not my authentic voice. I just didn't feel like it. I just felt I need to sit down, I need to just share what I have learned, and then hope that people like it and then be good at it. If you like it, do support, subscribe. So thank you, and we will meet until next time.